Hey everyone, welcome back. It is Icon. Thanks so much for checking out another episode of Esports Analysis. Today, we are hopping on board with ARCITYS. We're playing Hardpoint on the map Hackney Yard, and this is actually a 10s match. So, a little bit odd because a lot of teams haven't been scrimming lately. I think it's because the next competition is still a little bit over a week away. I think it's like a week and a half away. But in this one, we're going to be seeing the two teams. On ARCITYS teams, you have Pharaoh, Havoc, Priesta, Frosty, and ARCITYS. And on the other team, you have TJ, Temp, Shotzi, Zuma. So with this one, I did want to focus on this one because ARCITYS plays really well. He is running the AR. So every once in a while, you'll see him kind of switch it up with his teams, right? Sometimes you'll see him for Chicago running an SMG on this map. As we saw before CDL Chicago, he was running the AR on this map. So he does kind of switch it up. I think it's just based on the makeup of their 10s group. It just happens to with this one that they need a main AR, so now he's playing that role. So it's a little bit interesting to watch this one just because he's playing something that we're not usually used to seeing him play, right? Most of the time he's up inside the hill, he's doing the annoying things inside and around the hill. He's getting those kills in places where you wouldn't really expect people to be. That's just what ARCITYS does. And on this one, he's forced to play a little bit of a main AR role. Priesta's there also, but the two of them in combination are kind of doing that. So with this one, we have just popped. We're back to P2. It happened 15 seconds ago. And one thing that I'll point out is that ARCITYS team did a really nice job of not giving up a ton of time inside of P1, right? A lot of times people focus so hard on holding down for P2 that they give up a ton of time inside of P1, and that didn't happen. So they did a really nice job of not allowing it to get away from them in P1, and they were also able to hold down spawns for P2. So even though there's 20 seconds left and it did get broke, that's not the end of the world because on this map, now it's about to rotate to the opposite side of the map. So for P3, 4, and 5, they should have spawns. If they're able to hold it down, they should have spawns, and we'll see what happens towards the end of the first set of rotations, if that ends up hurting them or not. So as this is going on, I will draw right above my head up there. There is a mini map. I'll just kind of show you what's going on from the other team's perspective, right? So from, I guess you could say TJ's team, TJ, Zuma, Temp, Shotzi. I mean, I guess you could say that from their team's perspective, they just had P2. So now as this is rotating to P3, if you're ARCITYS team, what you want to watch is you want to watch that transfer over through P1 because all of the focus is up here towards the top on P4. So a lot of times what happens is the team that just had P2 in those spawns will try to push through top L over here and bottom L. And if they can flip, if they can get back over here towards back yellow, then that's how you end up flipping, and that's how you get spawns moving forward. As we're watching right here with ARCITYS, it does look like he's watching back towards P5, and the only reason why he would be really watching back towards P5 is if he gave up those spawns. And it does look like, now he hasn't died. So this will be the thing. We haven't seen ARCITYS die for quite a while. So now that he went down, now we can see his spawns. And that gives us a little bit of better idea in terms of what's going on with the map. That's one of the reasons why I like breaking down the actual CDL footage, right? Because in that footage with the mini map, you can see exactly where all the arrows are on the map. And it just gives everybody a little bit of a better idea, a clearer picture of what's going on. So right now, score, just to kind of reset here, it's 93 to 60, so they do have a 33-point lead, but again, the equalizer on this map is P2 and P5. So if you hold down both P2 and P5 on a set of rotations, then you're almost guaranteed to have a really big lead as it goes to the second set of rotations. We'll see what happens here because it does look like they were able to push that out. So ARCITYS got shot from middle there. But as I was watching the green arrows in the minimap, they were spawning back by P5. So if they're able to hold down the majority of P2 like they did earlier, and they're able to clear this out and keep these back spawns back here for P5, then they're probably going to have a fairly big, fairly large lead as it ends the first set of rotations. Just kind of right here what I'm watching is, let me pause this just for a second just to get a better idea of what's going on. So mini map that's right above my head. ARCITYS is up here, top heaven, right? And they have one other person back here by blue van that's watching the push on this side. Now, on the opposite side, one thing that I want to point out is that they have somebody in top L. And that's really big because if this person was back here instead, then that allows your enemy team to kind of spawn mid-map. If you have somebody in top L, now that pushes their spawn back a little bit. So the further you're able to push out, the better chance you have of really putting together a lot of points inside the hill. And that's kind of what we're seeing right now. You can see that there's nothing top L really. And the reason for that is just because they're pushed out so far. And look, ARCITYS is literally watching mid-map and there's nobody there because they have them spawned back so far. This is just a really nice job of map control. Something that you don't really see a ton of when you're watching like actual competitions or actual team scrims when it comes to these maps. Most of the time it's because everybody has their strategies and they have them locked down so well that they know exactly what they want to do and how they want to go about it. But with this, that was a fantastic job. If you can get control of maps, so think about how difficult that is. Not only do you have to get spawns, but then you have to get control of the hard point. Then you have to continue to push up and get map control. And every time you get a set of kills, push up a little bit further. So that's a ton of things that have to go your way in order to put together a hill like that. So right now, we've got about a double lead, right? It's about 160 to 80, somewhere in that range. And we'll see what happens now that as they're about to rotate into the second set of rotations, it is on P1. We'll see if they're able to flip. We'll see where ARCITYS comes up, and they were able to flip. So that's a really nice job from the SMGs from ARCITYS team of pushing through and getting spawned to P2. Who knows if they'll be able to keep it. It looks like they're being pushed pretty hard. But this is a team scrim, so we can actually hear their voice comms. I do want to hear what everybody's saying because a lot of these people like Havoc and Priesta and Frosty and a lot of those guys, we don't really get to hear that often because those teams don't really stream their scrims. So with that, let's go ahead. I'm going to turn up the volume for you guys. Let's listen in and hear exactly what they're talking about. I'll still chime in where I feel like I want to point out like the strategy parts that we're missing. So with that, let's turn it up and let's hear what they're talking about.
Mid, Den.
Our door. He's gonna slide out.
P3. Top on the mid.
Man. Sorry, I won't rage.
Top on the mid.
Yo, fucking let it out, brother.
What? P1 shots.
Yeah,
Fucking rage.
Fucking let it out, brother. Let's go.
Watching P1. Starting it.
You go top
One mid, TJ.
So one thing, I'm going to turn this down for just a second. One thing you're probably noticing from listening into this is that the communications aren't quite as in-depth, right? They're not quite as detailed, and there's a little bit more joking going around. A lot of that could be just because they have a little bit of a lead, so it's not quite so serious, but not quite as much banter going back and forth about calling people out, what strats they want to run, stuff like that, and a little bit more joking around. So it's kind of like a pickup basketball game, right?
Pocket, fork pocket. One's in AC hop. AC hop too. Zoom was AC hop, guys. AC hop.
Oh, I'm naded.
Dude,
Good.
cap, sure.
Top green. Donnie's one shot top green. He's right. Fire car. He's on the
He just
wall.
hops over.
Top the wall.
That was weird. It's all good.
One thing I will say real quick is that this AR play from ARCITYS looks really nice. This is why he's so valued as a teammate, because he can slay with an SMG, he can run an AR and be super accurate, and that's kind of what you're seeing right now. He's leading his team in kills, and he's doing that from the AR position. So every time he shoots, he's just right on target, and he's super accurate. Like, even right there, his shots were right on, even though he was a little bit late to that gunfight. So let's go ahead, let's listen back in.
Bottom my weak.
Throwing nade on hill. Throwing nade
No.
on hill.
Throwing nades.
I killed him on time.
Non graffiti guys going
Yeah,
green.
right.
One's top slant too.
Trying to help you bottom green.
Fuck
dead,
this slang
one
go.
dead.
This guy,
Behind you,
he's gonna make cop car or something.
Fucking helping.
Zoom,
Top
dead,
Yo,
one more
top,
top.
pinch him mid.
He's top heaven.
Mid,
He
what
fell.
the
He fell.
fuck?
There's two on time. Shotzi and TJ.
One shot.
Yo,
Shot.
all of you guys flood green.
Close left. He's out.
I
I run him out. Like front
Oh my
out.
god, I shot him top 3 for spawn.
I spawn P1.
Top out.
Like right
Zoom.
there.
So
I mean,
there's
there
one
were
back left.
on that kill right there from ARCITYS, there were no wasted bullets whatsoever, right? He hit every bullet, got a quick two-piece. Before that second person could even react, he was already being killed. So his aim is just, I mean, it's second to none, and he does it with every single gun. He's just super well-rounded. But with this, you'll see that if you're the team that has TJ and Shotzi and Zuma and Temp and those guys, if you could just get in and you could stop this, you do have spawns for P5. So if you could stop this right now and you could get the 60 points from P5, then you could essentially almost tie this game up. I don't know if that's going to happen. There's 7 away, and Frosty just got a 2-piece with a nade. Let's see, 4 seconds left. I think that's probably going to end up being it. But a couple things to take away from this. First of all, let's go ahead and let's pause this right here so that we can look at the actual scoreboard when we want to. But a couple things to take away is that on these 10s, They are communicating, of course, but it's not quite as clear as if they were with their team. Then there's a little bit more joking around, right? But with ARCITYS and Havoc, ARCITYS dropped 32. Really nice job out of him getting those kills and setting up the map control for his team. So with that, guys, if you're new around here, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I put out brand new videos like this every single day. If you have any comments about this, make sure you put them down below. Leave a like before you head underway. It really helps out the channel. And with that, I will catch you guys in tomorrow's upload.